Fast forward, you come out telling so age politics avenue. Political stories are trending because we get headlines na jemre na UDB exomo ni di ma yanko yinsimu. Onya iwra yinsimu a lawyer Bento, a part of Ghana Bar Association, and we free home so or sign a member of Imani Ghana. Na tukuno sensem watimi edina no tum na wachire say sene Ghana fobi e ka se maame no ebe ya enka onko translate nka onje na homi no ono so huni se enye sa ne tie o ho akonye bia se obetimi akonkoden na nkodimdi etimi ababa ye ne dia so ampa utire mu se public office o hwe no enye aban enko adia obi abetimi occupy enti se yi no na se maame no huni se o genuine kisa obetimi abattle yemon wrem ne hwe ne yeko ene dia
on it or the statute of limitations runs out on it. I repeat, nothing, even when you elect the president, when you are given an appointment to anything, it is not final until there is a judicial pronouncement on it or the statute of limitations runs. If you choose not to proceed to have a judicial pronouncement, then it remains as it is. So first thing that people must appreciate is that whatever is done in a constitutional republic, the courts have a say on it. And if whoever is affected decides to go to court, everything must wait for the judiciary to make a pronouncement on it. And let me explain the meaning of pronouncement. When you say, oh, she's tried here and she's tried there and it has not been successful, that is the design of the system. You start from lower courts. And I can tell you as a lawyer, there are people who lose at circuit courts. They lose at district court. They may lose at the high court. There are cases where the person loses at the high court, they lose at the appeals court, they go to the Supreme Court, and then they win. I can give you some of these cases, but I don't think it's necessary. But just take this from me. You can lose every way down the line and win at the Supreme Court. And even at the Supreme Court, there can be a review that can change some aspects of what has happened in the Supreme Court itself. In fact, the Supreme Court can depart from its own judgments in an earlier ruling. So please, let's get this right. This is the kind of system that we run. The fact that she's lost in an earlier situation does not mean it has run out. And until the judiciary makes a final pronouncement, it is not done. So that is why this is necessary. Let her get through and use all the resources available to her.
It means that you dismiss even the argument of senior lawyers who have said that we are dealing with the same person. If you're removed as a CJ, you're removed equally as a justice of the Supreme Court.
I will not use the word dismiss senior lawyers. Listen, again, when you go to court, you may be coming up against somebody who is 20 years senior to you at the bar, but you, that person. The point that must be made clear is that she has not exhausted the judicial remedies available to her. And to that extent, leave her alone to exhaust them. Those who have said the things that you are saying have expressed their opinions. And their opinion may well be the opinion of the Supreme Court. But until that is done, the Supreme Court is the place where the final opinions are given. So to this point, they have expressed their opinions. I have my opinions about the things that she's saying. And like I said from the beginning, if for nothing at all, this helps give the Supreme Court an opportunity to express itself on some of the matters that she's raising. And I'm telling you, some of the matters have very, very serious merits in the law and in reason. There's a lot of merit to it. But I'll leave the merit to the Supreme Court justices to do. So all the people giving advice and everything, it's all nice and well, but they shouldn't pretend that the woman is doing something which is improper. They shouldn't pretend that the woman doesn't know what she's doing. They shouldn't pretend that she's fighting for something she's already lost. It is not done until the final pronouncements are made. And that woman is supremely competent to make a decision.
And you said
people can advise her, but they should please tone down.
They should tone down. You said that she has not exhausted the procedure in Ghana, yet she found it necessary to go to the ECOWAS court and now has decided to come back. How do you explain that?
Because all of that is part of the process. She is entitled to go to the ECOWAS court. She went, she got her response, and she's back. That did not foreclose her from continuing to use the processes in Ghana. Again, there are laws, and until you come into contact with them, you don't appreciate them very well. But yes, a person, she's not the only person who went to the ECOWAS court. A number of people have gone to the ECOWAS court. You can go there and come back. There are aspects that can go to different kinds of courts. There is international law, and there are laws that are binding on Ghana. So, you see, we all have to learn You never know what you are going to come up against in the future and what will affect you or somebody close to you. And so when you see some of these things happening, just learn. If you see that, oh, she went to the ECOWAS court, she's back. It doesn't matter what kind of response that she got. It tells you that maybe in certain cases that you might be confronted with in future, you may also be able to go to the ECOWAS court. And there's a reason why that court was formed. When you have a government that is set against you, and you have a situation where the judiciary is also more or less set against you. You have a situation where all the organs of state seem to be set against you because of the overwhelming power of the presidency. Sometimes your only recourse will be to go to places like ECOWAS, Commonwealth, or other places like that. So look, we all should tone down again. Let us learn. She has put herself up to test the systems to their full extent. I think she's doing the rest of us a favor. If for nothing at all, we will learn.
We'll come back to that point you make about the system being against her, because I'll read a bit of the facts as presented in those proposals based on which the committee that was set up decided to recommend her removal. But you say that she going to the ECOWAS court is part of the process. The Attorney General decided not to file a response when she went there because the office of the AG felt that the ECOWAS court didn't have any power or jurisdiction over what happens in Ghana and the judicial process here. Shouldn't that perhaps give the information that she was out of the way trying to get an external force to influence whatever happens here as regard her?
Did I hear you say the Attorney General did not respond? Is that what you said?
Yes. The AG said that it did not file any response to that case there because it didn't recognize the ECOWAS court as having any jurisdiction or influence at all on what pertains in our judicial system here.
Again, yes, that is what the Attorney General says. But I think it is a stretch for anybody to say that the ECOWAS court does not have any jurisdiction whatsoever in things that happen. I think there have been previous cases where the ECOWAS court has made rulings, and some of those rulings have been respected. Again, when you have judicial outcomes, you must just watch, study them, and then learn from them. The ECOWAS court clearly has jurisdiction on certain matters regarding this country. The Attorney General chose not to. And I think it's their prerogative that they chose not to. I don't think that ECOWAS court does not have any jurisdiction at all. I think in future situations, we might learn other things. So it's all part of a process. So like I said, the rest of us who are sitting on the sidelines, the best that we can do for ourselves is to learn and advise ourselves, because you never know when you will need to use those processes, and you have to go and study what went on so that you can get a better outcome.
Let me ask you this before I come to Nanaya Ajantwa, presidential staffer who's just joined us in studio. You say that the CJ has the right to go ahead with this case because the understanding is that the state apparatus or the entire state is against her. There are those who are even questioning her argument when it comes to Article 146 that she's using she's using to defend her case in the Supreme Court. If you read point 16 of her argument, she says that I am advised by counsel and believe same to be true that the president could not, by the warrant dated September 1, 2025, to remove me from both the offices of Chief Justice and as a Justice of the Superior Court for the following and other reasons. The petitions of Daniel Ofori, okay, let me just read that. Shining Stars of Ghana and Ayamga Akologo Esquire were specifically for my removal from office as Chief Justice, not as Justice of the Superior Court. When you go to point 19, she says that it is clear that the process for appointing a Justice of the Supreme Court is different from the process for appointing a Chief Justice. 19, so that was 18. 19 says that further, the Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary responsible for the administration of the judiciary, a function not performed by other justices of the Supreme Court. Thus, removal as a Chief Justice does not imply automatic removal as a Justice of the Superior Court, which includes the Supreme Court. And then 20 says that by purporting to remove me from office, both as a Justice of the Superior Court of Ghana and as a Chief Justice by a warrant, the President acted contrary to and in excess of powers conferred on him by Article 146 of the Constitution. But if you read Article 146, of course, from Clause 6 to 11 talks about the removal of the Chief Justice. But if you read from 1 to 5, it talks about removal of a Justice of the Court as well. So there are those who are arguing that even her own argument with Article 146 is contrary to what Article 146 states. How do you respond to that?
In short, you are going into the merits of the matter, and I don't think it's proper. This is why the matter has gone before the justices of the Supreme Court. Trust me, they have better resources and better knowledge and better experience to determine these matters, and we should not go into those merits here. And so I'm not going to go into the merits. But what I will say is that, one, it is clear that there is a matter there, there is a case there. All right, and let us leave the justices to take their time and go through the case. Let me just give you an idea why I say it is clear that there is a case there. And before I get there, you were saying that I'm saying that the whole state is set against that. No, that is not what I said or what I meant. What I said is that when it looks like, when it seems like, okay, all the organs of state are arrayed against you, then you may have to seek help from elsewhere. And there are times when it gets to that position. You have a situation where the judiciary, which is an arm of government, is the one that is arrayed against her, so to say, and the action is coming from the presidency, so to say. So you have a situation where two arms of government, all right, more or less look like they are arrayed against somebody. You get into some of those situations, okay, and when those things happen, you may have to resort to some other facilities that may be available to you. Now, to the substantive issue, listen, there is a position of a superior court judge, or to that extent, a Supreme Court justice. And there is also the position of the Chief Justice. Those are two separate positions. And if you read the law itself, the law separates them. You go for vetting to be a Supreme Court or a Superior Court Justice. All right? And you go for vetting to be a Chief Justice. The law itself sees the difference in the two. The Chief Justice has administrative and other functions that she performs that no Superior Court or no Supreme Court Justice ordinarily performs. So there's a difference there. When it comes to the removal process, look at the Constitution itself. There is a difference there. There's a different bullet for removing a Superior Court Justice and a different bullet for removing the Supreme Court Justice. I can go on and on and on. But the point I'm making is that there is merit to this case. And that merit is not for you and I to determine. It is for the Supreme Court justices to take a hard look at and then make their determination based on their knowledge and their competence and experience. Let us leave them to do so. Those of us who are commenting on radio, let us appreciate that she has done the right thing by taking up the issue, because all of us will benefit whether she wins or she loses. And we will be the better for it because our constitution will be explained better, expressed better, and some of these dark areas will be elucidated further. So, to the extent that she has taken it up and she has not broken any law to do so, I think she must be commended for the fight. The other issues, rather, which worry me are that, see, in a constitutional republic, like I said, until the justices make a final pronouncement, the matter is not finished. That is why we have things like injunctions. And when these matters are before a court, especially the Supreme Court, the parties must hold their hands. So you may say so, and other people may believe so, and all kinds of things may be said about the fact that, oh, the president has removed her, and yes, indeed, she has been removed. I think that until this matter is really finished, we should all refrain from saying some of those things. We can say them as a matter of, discussion, but the truth of the matter is that there is a possibility which is more than 0% that it can be found that she was not removed properly. And when that happens, there is a possibility, because that's a public office, that she can be reinstated. And in a proper constitutional republic, when these things are still being discussed, are still under adjudication, all the parties, and in this case, the presidency, must hold its hands, because the presidency is not the final arbiter in all matters. It is the Supreme Court. So the merits of the matter, let us leave it to the justices. But for all of us, if you send a matter to court, it is useful that these rules and procedures that the parties must hold their hand be respected by all persons. So let us wait and see what the justices say. But clearly, since the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution itself, sees a difference in the offices of the Supreme Court Justice and the CJ, the Chief Justice, I think there is merit to these matters. Whether the merits are sufficient to arrive at the kind of outcome that she is looking for is another matter. But let us let this process play out.
from one of our viewers for you, and it's because you mentioned that she can be reinstated. And Wisdom Gavor is asking whether, assuming she has been granted to become a Superior Court judge, like she's asking for now, can she become a Chief Justice of Ghana again? And you already heard Madam Ayana talking earlier that as we speak right now, her image is already dented.
So again, there are matters of law, and then there are matters of free conjecture. Okay, her image is dented. Oh, she should not be doing that. It does not look good. They are not matters of law. All right, and I am saying these things help expand the frontiers of our law and help explain our law better. It will be very useful to see how this ends. And like I'm saying again, when you hold a public office, nobody owns public office, not even the president. As different from a let me finish. As different from a private employment. In the case of a public office, where it is found that somebody removed you unlawfully, you can be reinstated even with back pay. So let us let these processes run through. As for our free commentary, when we make them, let us appreciate that they are free commentary and it is not law. The law is that you can be reinstated in public office if it is found that you were improperly removed.
I want you to hold on, Mr. Bento, because I need to get the thoughts of Nanaya Ajantua, and then I'll come back to you for your final word before you take leave of us.
Thank you so much. Now, I saw a video of the former Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, apologizing for the mistakes that his government, not allegedly, because he has said it, have made. 6, please find me that video.
Ye too abaye ye research ewie. Ye nimse aban ene ye party ya ye mfomso. Ya ye mfomso. Bebre ewo ye governance no mo. Niema wo ho a afise ye beye ya anye. Ye maybe so wo ho a ye ya anka ye hu from the background so a ye enti mejina ha ye nyina ye ka ho bi. Vice President, ministers, MPs, board chairman, appointees, yenyina ya yem from so pacho mon fan chain why mon fan chain yenyina ya from so mon fan chain na yesua your lessons. Nyame adom ena mode franka ne hyemensa me be ye president ambassadorium ya belle ni ye lessons mon fan chain ambassadorium.
Was it not our very good friend, the vice president of the former regime, who told us that the presidency is not a platform to do remedials to correct your mistakes? Was it not him? Was it not the same gentleman who came to tell us that the results that he left, the records that his government left for us, it makes him very proud? He said that on Wound to Me radio. Was it not the same person who was vehemently defending and telling us that his government, together with his boss, was the best thing that could ever have happened to Ghana? Did President Akuffo not tell us that we are even fortunate to have him? And were these same mistakes that today are being admitted to a few months after the elections not vehemently rejected by all the communicators? And you can name them, all of them, from Dennis Abuaji to my good friends Kamal Dean Abdullahi. They were all denying it and telling us that we were telling lies. That those of us who were pointing out the mistakes to them were actually telling lies. They made us look like we were the evil ones. So from whence cometh this apology? Is it a genuine apology? Or is it an apology to become a flag bearer, to be on the ballot sheet again? There are questions that we have to ask, and we have to be very frank about them. So what exactly is he apologizing for? Because when Dr. Amin Adam, the finance minister who replaced Mr. Kenoforiata, was literally apologizing and also rewriting the apology right on his feet at the town hall meeting that was held, Dr. Bawumia was nowhere. The people of the Republic of Ghana complain about e-levy. The people of the Republic of Ghana spoke about betting tax. We spoke about a lot of things. We spoke about the exchange rate. We spoke about fuel prices. We spoke about hardship in this country. Where was he at the time? Today I hear people talking about what do you call it, tolerance, etc., and I laugh. Once upon a time, my own Helena Piampof and many others, they went to go and do demonstration against Galamsey, which we said, the president said he will put his job on the line for. Some were arrested, including somebody whose wife had just given birth. And the attorney general at the time, who now is behaving like a saint, went to court to go and ask the judge not to grant the people bail because they went on the street to demonstrate against Galamsey. Where was the vice president? Where was the vice president? Where was he? So today, do we take this apology with a pinch of salt? Or do we take this apology wholeheartedly and say better late than never? I'm saying people were arrested for going on the street to go and demonstrate against Galamsey, which the president at the time said, I am determined to put my presidency on the line. They were arrested. The police went to court. The attorney general went to court to argue, to insist that they should not be granted bail. We were in this country. We were in this country when people were demonstrating at 37. They wanted to come and picket at the presidency. We blocked them. Today we know our way to the presidency to go and present petitions. And then when we finish, we come and organize press conferences and come and be pretending that we are holier than thou. It is good not to retaliate, but it is good to remind ourselves that we have seen worse in this country before. We have. Where was the vice president when people were being given haircuts after the president had said that there will be no haircuts? Where was he? Where was he when old women, including a former chief justice of this republic, was out there on the streets with placards picketing at the finance ministry to demand for their monies? Where was he? Why didn't he find it necessary to apologize then? This apology, that I can go on and list a lot of things. Where was he when children were being fed expired rice in schools? And people were vehemently defending it with all the might in their blood. And somebody actually even walked out of this studio because we were asking simple questions. Where was the vice president? When he himself presented items that were expired to NADMO victims, people who had been displaced, where was he? Where was he when the Polugu Dam, which he sat in a studio at Joy FM to tell all of us that it's one of the flagship programs that they have actually achieved for his own people? Where was he? Did he find it necessary to apologize? So where from this apology now? And what is the real motive behind this apology? We must ask him, and he has to come and explain. He has to come and explain. There are lots and lots of things. Look, we did the year of roads, second year of roads, another year of roads. Today we see the state of our roads, and you ask, so where are the over 10,000 kilometers of roads that we claimed that we had built or constructed? Has he apologized for that too? Or is this just a blank apology? Is this just a blank apology? Go and check the children in the secondary schools at the time. Bed bags and all. I get too much information. I'm inundated. Sometimes it actually frustrates me. I ask myself, is this a Republic of Ghana? Operation Galam Stop, Operation Hot 1 and 2, Operation this, that we put people there. Did he find it necessary to apologize to Major Mahama's family after he was gruesomely killed because of Galamsey? Today we are still grappling with Galamsey, and this government has to do a lot. Find me that Galamsey video. This government has to do a lot.
we sama woro timi ko so channel no so ma no so jemre e wa ha da sene so ba de ndia dumbi edum ye nia onu ya besen hiem ni asomo kwan so kusokura GH Politics Avenue.